So, just to start out with, I want you to tell me about when you would go to visit Great Grandma when we were little. What are the types of things that you remember about visiting Great Grandma?
I remember that we would always drink coffee with lots of cream and sugar in it, and you could not leave without eating food, even if you were headed for volleyball practice or having to do something very physical afterwards, like swimming lessons. No one was immune from eating at Grandma's house.
What are the types of things she would feed you?
Just a lot of German food. She was a very good cook. Pies, cookies. She was always cooking something.
Do you remember any of the stories she would tell you about?
I kind of remember one story about, I'm trying to remember if it was like a pig running under her legs or something, and she ended up on top of the pig or something, but maybe I'm remembering that incorrectly. But she was also always watching TV, and she loved I Love Lucy, and she loved Wheel of Fortune.
I remember her liking Married with Children too.
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one?
She got into the modern stuff more.
Yeah.
I remember one time though we went over there and we were looking at these cards that this artist had made, and she didn't have arms, so she did it with a paintbrush, and then
The artist didn't have
yeah.
arms. Yeah.
So then Great Grandma, she took a pen in her mouth and she was trying to draw stuff, you know, just like that artist had to write and to draw.
Can you kind of like describe her house? Like what are the features of it that stick out to you still today?
Probably the artwork on the walls. She had some pretty fancy, I don't know if they were beaded or sequined like peacocks. And there was a Jesus painting above the door, I want to say.
What about the basement? Do you remember the basement? Or yeah.
Yeah, the pool table, and I don't know, there were just dark rooms down there, a big furnace. That's kind of scary.
Yeah. Do you remember the ledge that was above the...
Oh yes. Everyone would just dangerously walk onto that ledge, you know, no matter how young they were, and no one ever got hurt. It's amazing.
Describe how the ledge looked for people who didn't see it.
So you're going down the steps, and then on the side there was just a very thin like lip that you could walk on, and then at the end there was a kind of a big thing where probably a few people could have actually sat. And I think we did. And then you could have probably hung on it, if I'm remembering correctly.
It is funny that nobody got hurt on that. You can describe what it was like when like all of Grandma's kids would show up, like Grandpa's brothers and sisters. Like what was the atmosphere like?
That was more of a full house. Everyone was talking at once, and the table was full.
Now moving on to what do you remember about going down to Grandma and Grandpa's farm? Like how much time would we spend down there?
I would say we'd go down there like once a week, you know, and Grandma would come out and Grandpa would come out, and they'd sit at the table with us and talk. And I remember that we'd kind of go always into their cupboards, and we'd eat some of their chocolates and their chips and their pretzels, and then we were in the freezer, and we were probably just getting on a sugar high. We probably got wilder as we were sitting there. We'd go down in the basement, you know, get me a Pepsi. So we'd get them a Pepsi, and it's kind of scary in that basement too.
Okay. Anything about like the holidays down at Grandma and Grandpa's that sticks out to you?
Have you talked about the gift opening maybe? Like how we would each take turns. It could take a while to get through everyone. Everyone would take a gift, everyone would watch, one person would open the gift, and you would get scolded if you were opening a gift that you shouldn't have, you know, at that time. It was very orderly.
Yeah. Okay. Nick, anything you want to talk about, like when you first became part of the family?
I don't know. I guess that tradition right there is actually something kind of weird for my family. We always just passed every present out, and then we'd all just sit there and open them all up at the same time. So the first time I was there, it was kind of like, oh, we're going to wait? Okay.
Okay. Anything, I'm just trying to think if there's anything more about Great Grandma that you could talk about. Like, do you remember anything special about like when we had swimming lessons?
I just remember one time, you know, we were talking about it was the end of you know, summer and we had to go back to school, and she just was agreeing with me completely that it wasn't fair and we shouldn't have to go back to school and that we'd have to wake up in the morning. You know, it was the first time an adult had agreed with me that it was not right to lose summer like that.
Much better to sleep in.
Yeah.